Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Um, I'm really happy to present you my Warden main tank build at last. I finally made it to the point where I want to be with a Warden tank. I've been testing a lot, so it's been a really long way for me. Anyways, this might be a long video because I will go into detail with everything why I use, when to use, why I didn't choose that, why I didn't do that, whatever. So yeah, let's just start. I'm an Imperial. I highly recommend being an Imperial. You can be an Argonian, which is better for sustain, but the Warden has insane sustain. I've been playing DK for a lot now, but I switched to Warden and I feel more comfortable with Warden in terms of sustain. So I don't know why, but Warden, at least for me, has more sustain than DK. This is what I experienced. So Imperial has more stats, 10% stamina and 12% health. That's the highest stat pools you can get from a race, so that's why I chose Imperial. And obviously more health is always welcome. All stats in health, all attributes in health. We have 16.4 Magica, 41.1 health, 21.5 stamina. We have 1k Magica recovery. Doesn't matter. We have 24k spell resist, 24 physical. I am running Atronach Mundus. I do not use Equilibrium or Balance with this build. As I said, Warden has insane sustain. You really don't need it. I tried to make a build around it, but it's like you don't even have to slot it. It really doesn't matter. I tried to tank with Equilibrium on a Warden tank. The only time I used Balance is because taking the major armor buffs. So yeah, I never needed it, so it's fine. And I was using Lord Mundus, so even with Lord Mundus, the sustain is very high. But I switched to Atronach. You'll see why. I'm running the 3-stat food, which gives me these good stats. So now, if you want to see, let's see, there we go. This is our health with Warhorn applied. And I'll explain how I proc this. How much was it? 44.3k health. 44.4 actually, with Warhorn. So that's pretty nice health pool. And that's pretty much it for the stats. Let's go into the gear. Now, first thing I want to talk about is the monster set. I'm running Lord Warden. It was really bad back in the day because of the radius was so small, like it was incredibly small. It wasn't even applying to the melee group. So, but now this is very good. Sometimes it even goes to the range group. It's like insane. So definitely use this, and if you want to know why this is so good for your DDs and healers but not much of a difference for yourself, it won't be much of a difference for yourself. You won't see the difference in damage taken. I mean, you won't be able to notice it because of the damage mitigation, how it's calculated, the diminishing returns and stuff. I will leave a link in the description. Go read that thread. try to understand what it says, and you'll understand why this set is very good for DDs and healers, but not so good for yourself. So this is one of the best support sets in the game at the moment. The other monster set we can use is Bloodspawn. This is more of a, like, the group doesn't need protection at all kind of set. So if there is absolutely no reason to protect group, like if they are taking no damage at all, you should use Bloodspawn. It gives you ultimate, gives you some resistances, which doesn't really matter. Stun recovery is wasted, but still fine. Again, both sturdy with 3 stat enchants. The other thing we can use is 1 Shadow Rend and 1 Choke Turn. Try to get both sturdy. I have reinforced here. Now this is what I use in pledges, because you're teleporting so much, so many ads. You're using a lot of magical skills in pledges, so, and a lot of sprinting, whatever. So magical recovery becomes a necessity, and Bloodspawn isn't really needed for the, like, you don't need to boost DPS a lot, and boosting DPS with 14 ultimates every 6 seconds is not very high. So Choke Turn and Shadow Rend is better for pledges. Now let's move on to the next set, Ebon Armory. This is pretty much the most common set. Like, every tank in this game should have a 5-piece in their inventory. This gives maximum health, healing taken, and maximum health for everyone. Make sure you have this in legendary, okay? It is, like, you must use with legendary, because the 5-piece gets a boost as you increase the quality. So you'll see a big difference between white Ebon and legendary Ebon. Not much of a difference between purple, but still, health is health. Upgrade to legendary. Full sturdy, all of them 3 stat enchants. Now, moving on to the next set, Roar of Alkosh. Now, I'll just explain what it does first, then we'll move on to the synergy topic. Now, the first 4-piece doesn't give you anything. The 5-piece, on the other hand, is the thing you want. When you activate a synergy, you send a shockwave from your position that deals whatever damage, an additional whatever damage, over 10 seconds. We really don't care about the damage. The thing we care about is the last sentence. Reduces the physical and spell resistance of any enemy hit by 3k for 10 seconds. So now that means this is an AoE, and this is why it outperforms Torux in trash packs. Now, we have trials where you don't really fight any trash packs. There's no trash packs at all. But we also have trials that has a lot of trash packs. Like, most of the time you spend is on the trash pack. So you need the armor reduction boost there. And I will teach you how to properly use this. Now, let's talk about the synergy first, and then we're gonna move to how to use Alkosh. Now, synergies are incredibly reliable, and unreliable. Now, but why do I use this set? It simply outperforms anything in any AoE fight. if there's ads next to the boss, this will outperform Torux. Now, let me just show you. Well, I won't have synergies obviously, but I wanna show you what I do during the combat. Now, I have a rotation where I do skills in a line, and I stop doing anything and I simply spam this energy button. That's how you get Alkosh procs in this game. As you know, when you use a skill, the synergy will disappear, because as you are using the skill, I think the game feels like the game sees that you are not gonna use the synergy, so I might as well give it to someone else. So when you use skills, the synergy will go away. So what I do is I don't use anything for a certain amount of time, and I spend that time only and only spamming the synergy button. Sometimes you must have seen it happen. Synergies will come on your screen and go away for no reason, even though you are not using skills. If you do what I say, as soon as they come on your screen, you will use them, because you are not letting them go. You will hit the synergy as soon as it appears. So you will proc the Alkosh. It will not happen. I did this many times, and this is pretty much the best way to use Alkosh. So now my rotation, I will explain later, but when I say rotation, this doesn't mean I do it all the time. I do it whenever I can, because it gives me the best buff uptime, and it's just overall makes you easier to track your buffs and debuffs. So yeah, now that's how we use Alkosh. I'll explain more detailed. So yeah, all shield play enchantments, that's very important. You need the shield play enchants. Now moving on to the front bar, we have an infused Sword of Alkosh with Crusher enchant. You need the Crusher enchant, there is no other way. You must use it. Now onto the shield, we have a Sturdy, but this is not Tristat, this is health. Because if you use Tristat on your weapon and shield, you will lose stats every time you weapon swap. So it's not really a good thing in terms of self-sustaining, but the health is always gets replenished with the with healings from your healers, obviously. So this is what I found best. Using a health enchant instead of Tristat will boost your health even higher compared to Tristat, and won't eat up your stamina and magicka. So yeah. Now on our back bar we have a lightning staff of Alkosh. You don't really need an Alkosh staff, you just need a staff, a lightning staff, especially with infused. Now there are choices you can make here. Weakening is more of a safe approach for fights. If you want to push more DPS, you can use a charged staff with shock enchant on it. That also works. But I found weakening to be much more, how can I say, much more helpful to the group. Everyone takes less damage. You can keep this up with very high uptime. And yeah, that's pretty much why. If you want to just push DPS, charge it with shock enchant. It won't really help much though, I must say that. Because while I was using Charge It with Shock Enchant on it, when I open combat metrics, if there's like 85% minor vulnerability, only 3 or 4% is from me, even though I keep shock blockade all the time. And it's just that's why I found weakening to be more effective. I keep it like if I'm the only one using the weakening, I keep it up like 50-60%. But yeah, in our group, I have like every healer and every tank uses a weakening infused on their lightning stuff and infused crusher on their front bar. So that's how we get insane uptimes on the crusher and weakening. I mentioned this in a thread and made a video about this tactic, and I can say it works amazingly. It's just too good to pass on. So yeah, if you want really good uptime on crusher and weakening, do the tactic I said. If you want more details, you can check out the other video. Anyways, that's how we keep crusher. Now, as for the lightning stuff, this looks like something people still don't know, because even though I explain in forums, like if I write it, people don't seem to understand how it works. Now, I have an infused weakening here, an infused crusher here. So if I use blockade like this, as you see here, weakening procs. Now, if I just simply switch to my front bar, crusher will proc. And as you see, I didn't do any light attacks. I didn't use my pierce armor, I didn't use my heroic slash, which are the only way to proc crusher. Light attack proc set, heavy attack proc set, and taunt, as you see, all of them can proc, and obviously heroic slash will proc as well. But without using any of them, I can put my blockade down, let the weakening proc, go to my front bar, and let the crusher proc. Now switch, proc weakening, just before crusher goes down, I switch again, and proc crusher again. This is how you keep insane uptimes on crusher and weakening. Now, if you are alone, if you are doing a pledge, this is what you should do. Always switch your swap items so you can keep high uptime. But if you are in a raid, 4 different people applying 4 different crushers and 4 different weakenings, you don't have to do this. You will have really high uptime even if you don't do the swap bars thing. So yeah, that's how we keep good uptime. Now, that was on why lightning stuff is really good on tanks and healers. Not only contributing to the off-balance uptime, the main reason is keeping crusher and weakening reliably, I mean. So yeah. Other things you can do with lightning stuff is, if you want to like use crusher more effectively, you can apply this from range. For example, you're tanking assembly general, right? And he knocks you back with the punch. Now, you still can apply crusher while flying back. You just put the blockade down, switch to your front bar, and that blockade you put down before getting knocked back will continue to proc crusher. Another example, you can put the blockade down before going to the yellow circle in Storm Atro fight, and while waiting in the circle you will proc the crusher. This is how we get really high uptimes. Sometimes you see people just showing their parse in the in Storm Metro, right? It's like 50k something. If you watch carefully, if you see, if you examine it carefully, their crush uptime is around 70%, which means they are not doing this. Even though tanks do not really need double one-hand shield, they still use it for some reason. I don't know why. And they are sacrificing a lot of crusher uptime just to get that. Just to have one-hand shield on both bars, which doesn't really make sense, but I admit that is the safer approach for self-survivability. Double one-hand shield is better. Yeah. Now that it's out of the way, I hope you understood how it works now. Yeah, that's the gear, and that's pretty much it. If your group really wants Torque specs, you can just use Ebon on jewelry. Ebon here, Torques, and lightning stuff. And that's for the gear. Now, for skills, we have first skill, Pierce Armor. Thrust your weapon with disciplined precision at enemy, deal physical damage, and taunting them to attack you for 15 seconds. This is your main taunt, and you should use it every 10 seconds. Not 15, every 10. I will explain you why. Also afflicts the enemy with Major Fracture and Major Breach, reducing their physical resistance and spell resistance by 5280 for 12 seconds. So this is one of the best debuffs in the game at the moment, because it applies both Major Fracture and Breach with one button. It is cheap, it is a melee taunt, it's just amazing. You need this skill. Second skill is Heroic Slash. Surprise an enemy with a deep lunge, dealing physical damage and reducing movement speed by 60%. Now, I'll explain this for people who are new to tanking. This movement speed, when you use this on a boss, it will show up a message: the target is immune here on the upper right corner. The immune thing is only applies to the movement speed debuff, because you cannot reduce movement speed of bosses. Everything else applies. Now, for example, also afflicts the enemy with minor maim, reducing their damage done by 15% for 12 seconds. This thing applies to bosses. As I said, the reason you are getting targeted immune message here is because of the movement speed debuff. Bosses are immune to movement speed debuffs, not to the minor maim. So yeah. And you gain minor heroism, granting you one ultimate every 1.5 seconds for 9 seconds. And again, it's a must to have this. If you want to boost DPS, you must use this. And you are protecting your group with using this skill. So this is one of the best debuffs and buffs in the game. So you must use it on front bar, not on back bar if you are using double one-hand shield. As I said, best skill, you must keep this up. So for easier access, keep this on front bar. Now, Green Balance, Leeching Vines. This is our source of self-healing. Applies minor lifesteal, which is pretty good, so your healers can save a skill slot for it. And that's pretty much how you sustain your stamina and magicka. Now, uh, grow vines to embrace you or the lowest health ally in front of you for 10 seconds. So I will stop here because this is something that people are missing. It says lowest health ally in front of you. This is really important. That part that says in front of you, that is important because if you're looking at the group and let's say there's a boss in front of me and the rest of the group is here, if I use this, it will probably most likely go to someone else, which is okay. You can heal other people too, but what I mean is if you put this on yourself, you need to turn like this, use the skill, it will go on you. It will, because it applies the buff to people in front of you. Okay? So if there's no one in front of you, you will get the buff. And why is this so important? Why is this important that you get the buff? Now, as a tank, you will be taking damage obviously, and when you heal yourself, you get resources back with this passive. When healing an ally with a green balance ability, you gain 250 magicka or 250 stamina, restores your lowest resource pool. This effect can occur once every 1 second. So now that means, let's look at this thing. The vines heal the target for 1040 health each time they take damage. Now that means this will instantly heal you when you take damage. That means this is a guaranteed heal. It will not proc when you are full health. Every time you take damage, of course every 1 second, this thing will proc, this thing will heal you, and that heal will proc the nature's gift. This is how Warden sustains really well. This is why Warden sustain is incredible. If you put this on as many as people you can, your sustain will be over the roof. You'll be like a sustain monster. You won't run out of anything. So yeah, this is why we are using Atomic Mundus. We need to keep our magic up to use this skill constantly. So yeah, and when you heal an ally, doesn't matter what heal. It's not supposed to be. It doesn't have to be one of these skills. Any heal grants them minor toughness, which in pledges can be really useful to make sure the health buff is constantly up. And if your group is not very comfortable with the Warhorns, if you are having downtimes, this passive with this skill combined will help your group keep their health bonus up. So yeah, it's why the skill is very important, and why we are putting it on the front bar. Fourth skill we have is Bullnatch. Now this is a skill that needs to be on front bar because it scales, like it lines up perfectly with others. Now it has 27-second duration, right? Now the reason you shouldn't be using this on the back bar is a passive called Savage Beast. Activating an animal companion ability grants 4 ultimate. This effect has a cooldown of 8 seconds. Now, if you use this on back bar every 25 seconds, you are completely missing on this. So that's why I use it on front bar, and I track with surrender. The duration is 25 seconds, so when I see it on the 17 second, I cast this again and it will give me ultimate if I'm in combat obviously. So this is why it is one of this is how we sustain our stamina. It gives stamina over time, obviously. I think 79 per second, which is very good. And not per second, I'm sorry. It's every half a second, I think, something like that. It's the stam restore is really high. And we use this to get ultimate with Savage Beast. That's why it's on our front bar. Now, the fifth spot is a flex spot. Now I will tell you which skills you can put there. The first skill is Shimmering Shield. This is one of the most overpowered skills in the game. Spin a shield of ice around you, absorbing up to 60,000 damage from 3 projectiles. Each time you absorb a projectile, you restore 578 magicka and gain major heroism for 6 seconds, granting you 3 ultimates every 1.5 seconds. So now, if you use this on front bar for easier access, it looks like this, pretty cool. Any projectile, it doesn't have to be a magical projectile. Any projectile you can absorb and gain major heroism. Each projectile will destroy one of the shields, and you can absorb up to 3 projectiles. So you can see if you get the major heroism or not. If you have like 2 shields around you, that means you absorbed something and you do have major heroism. This skill is the reason why Warden has the highest ultimate regeneration. Absolutely the highest ultimate regeneration. It's just insane. And it's great survivability against any projectile. Let's see. Another skill you can use is Absorb Magic. I use this in only one place, and it's Rocket. Now, I must say something. This is not really... Warden is not tanky as a DK. It's the truth. You're just not tanky as a DK. Because DK has the healing, taken, the spell resistance, everything. DK has a lot of like tanky bonuses. Now, as a Warden, you don't have those bonuses. Like, even though this tree gives you physical spell, it's nothing. It's just not enough. Just DK has much more tankiness. Now, this is why I'm using Absorb Magic on a Warden tank while fighting Rocket. What I do is I put this here and put this here. Just before the barrage, I pop this, which will absorb a lot of damage, and I go to my front bar and start spamming Absorb Magic. I really don't drop down below 70% health. It's you become like immortal. So yeah. Another skill you can use, but I don't, is Shielded Assault. Like this is on the 4th boss. You can use this, but I prefer Elusive Mister. We'll go up to that. We'll speak about that. The Shield Assault makes the taunt swap the fastest. There's no doubt. This is the fastest way to switch bosses on 4th boss in Halls of Fabrication. But there's a problem. If an ad, the exploding ads, runs up to you, and during shield charge, even during the shield charge, they can explode you. It happened to me many times. And if there's the fingers, the hands on your way, you will drop into them, and you pretty much gonna cause a wipe. So that's why I do not use this skill on fourth boss. But this skill is almost a necessity on the final boss, because when the assembly general throws you back with the punch, if you don't go back fast enough, it's gonna jump and it's gonna knock everyone back, which probably will cause a wipe. So you need this skill for the last boss in House of Fabrication. Now, I don't have any of the armor skills. Okay, Elusive Mist. This is what I use on fourth boss. It's pretty much one of the best ways to do that boss. Elusive Mist gives you 75% damage reduction. When you pop this, you take less damage from heavy attacks. Like, you can just go try. I take around 10 to 12k from heavy attacks in fourth boss, but when I pop this, I get like 8 to 9k. This gives you better mitigation. So, but you do not get heals while this is active, and your magic recovery is gone. But it gives you speed. You can go through fingers with this, you won't get stunned, and it's just better. Sometimes, I don't know if it happened to you, sometimes during the shield charge, if you are using it, you get the damage from heavy attack and it doesn't count you as blocking. You will get one shot. But Elusive Mist isn't like that. We can just like mist to the other boss without being interrupted by anything. It is just safer. The shield charge is kind of an RNG, that's why I don't use it. Yeah. Extracted Entropy. This is one of the other flex spot skills if you really need high health here. It's what I use on second boss in House of Fabrication, because the damage you take there is really high, especially if you get hit by the ad and the boss at the same time with their heavy attack. Now, I have this skill here, right? Now I'm gonna switch bars and proc the Warhorn buff. But why is this not giving me health? Did I not proc it? There we go. 46.6k health. It's 2k higher than what I have normally. It will be higher when I get this to max level. Yeah, you need health there. It's just like that, you need health there. So obviously you can just roll dodge the attacks, but you never know what happens. So just to be safe, Extracted Entropy, you can use it. Let's see. We have Resolving Vigor. Now, the reason I don't choose Echoing Vigor is the only time I use Vigor is for self-healing. While I'm tanking Axis, I use Vigor. So it's pretty much the only place I use Vigor. So yeah, that's why I chose the Resolving Vigor, because it gives me more healing. It's more self-healing, so that's why I chose it. It's not for healing others. Let's see, we have Efficient Purge. I mostly use it on my back bar, but still it's pretty good, not bad. Yeah, it just removes negative effects. You need this skill on Halls of Fabrication, on first boss, on fourth boss, and on Maw of Lorkai. In trash packs, the archers shoot the AoE arrow spray and it puts a bleed on you. You can remove it. And on the twins, it's also very good because they use reflective light. The white boss and ads, they use reflective light, and it puts a damage over time on your allies, so it's pretty good for purging that. Let's see, that's pretty much it for this flex spot. Now, what our ultimate is obviously Warhorn. Now there's a thing here that you can do. You can use barrier here, which I don't have. I don't need it, to be honest. You can use it here to get magical recovery. Let me just put my skill here so I don't get confused. Okay. You can use the barrier here and put the Warhorn on our back bar. Or put the barrier on our back bar. Now the reason I use permafrost is, let's take a look at that as well. Permafrost gives a huge chunk of like defense. That's pretty much it. If you're doing a really dangerous pull, using this skill will help more than using a Warhorn. If someone dies, it's over. So this thing has a big radius. It's really good, and it gives major protection to everyone in there. So that's why this is my defensive ultimate. I don't have magma shell like I have on DK, but if you want to protect people, this is the best way to do it. AoE major protection. It's just very good. That's why I keep it on my back bar, for protecting the team. Yeah. And as I said, we have all Magicka skills on back bar, so you can use barrier on back bar as well. Now, as for the Warhorn, this is pretty much the best one. So yeah, just use Warhorn. Increase max Magicka, max stamina, max health for 30 seconds. Major force, 15% crit damage for 9.5 seconds. It's the best ultimate you can get. So yeah. Okay, moving on to the back bar, we have Deceptive Predator. Gives us speed buff for 14 seconds, major endurance for 14 seconds, and gives minor evasion. This is the only way you can get minor evasion, by the way, in this game. I don't know why, but yeah. Increasing dodge chance by 5% for 14 seconds. It's not really the reason I use it. I just don't have any damage, so I don't use Bird of Prey. Now the reason we have this here is the Flourish passive. Increase your Magicka and stamina recovery by 12% if an animal companion ability is slotted. And I must say, on my DK I started to use the speed potion a while ago, and it was like months ago actually, and I was like much faster. Stacking is much faster, like avoiding mechanics is much easier. So speed buff is a really good thing to have as a tank. And Warden has it for 14 seconds. It costs Magicka. You don't need this. And if you use this for a spell speed buff, if you cast anything that goes on your ally, it will remove it. So this skill is pretty good. Now we have Flourish passive on back bar, and we have Bull Natch on front bar, so we have the Magicka and stamina recovery on both bars. So yeah. Now this skill I always keep it here. Whatever the fight is, I always have it. The speed is just amazing. Now this is a flex spot. Now you can use Frozen Device, which is like the best chaining skill in the game. Best, like this is better than chains. I played DK tank for 2 years, and after the buff, like, this is much better than chains, I can easily say. Because you can put 3 portals at one time, at the same time, you can have them active. And when you pull something, you apply major maim on them, which is insane. Now, for example, the best use for this in a trial, Mo Florkai, first boss. Let's say the boss is right in front of me. I'm gonna put one there, and one there. And I will put the gripping shards on my front bar, because there's nothing to absorb in that fight. And as soon as the cats spawn, they can't even deal damage to anyone. I pull them immediately. Like, even before they spawn on me. It's how fast, just imagine. And as soon as they come to me, I use the AoE root gripping shards on cast. Enemies in the area also become immobilized for 3 seconds, and reducing their movement speed by 30%. So that's why I keep this, like, it's just crazy. The chaining with Warden is much better than DK. Like, there's no way to explain unless you play it. I can't just say it that way. You must play it. There's no other way. Okay, for the, let's see, Crushing Shack, AoE, not AoE, sorry, range interrupt. This is the skill I keep on while fighting warrior. Pretty much through the all Halra, I have Crushing Shack every boss fight, pretty much. And it's like almost a necessity for there. Instead of your DD slotting Crushing Shack and losing DPS over it, you can just swap to your back bar and interrupt. It's really just easy. So yeah, Crushing Shack is a range interrupt and set them off balance. Amazing skill. And another good example is House of Fabrication. All trash fights, there's something you can interrupt. And the second boss, first boss, it's just crazy. On the second boss, sometimes boss just teleports away from you and immediately starts doing the interruptible attack, the channeling attack. When the boss teleports away from me, I immediately go to my back bar and keep my finger on the Crushing Shack. As soon as he starts doing it, I use Crushing Shack and interrupt him. So yeah, it's why it's just very good skill. The range, 28 meters, it's crazy. So yeah, the reason you don't need deep red is this skill. The deep red radius is not really high. If there's something that can be interrupted within deep red radius, you can just turn around and interrupt them yourself with bashing. But this skill gives something that deep red doesn't give. The range, 28 meters. It's just crazy. So yeah, let's see. Elusive Mist you can use on back bar. Invigorating Drain you can use on back bar. Invigorating Drain is, by the way, the highest ultimate regen skill in the game. It's not this. It's Invigorating Drain. It's insane. The healing you get from this is crazy. The ultimate you get from this is absurd. It's just very good. Oh, by the way, you must be a vampire because of the magic and stamina recovery it gives, and the undead passive reduces your damage taken by up to 33%, based on your missing health while you are below 50% health. So as your health goes lower, you become tankier. Yeah. Let's see. Ring of Preservation. Thankfully, I never had to use it. It's so expensive. But yeah, it's a skill that you can use. It gives roll dodge cost reduction 20%, which is pretty good, and minor protection and minor endurance to everyone in the radius. The thing is very small. Like let me show you. This is pretty small, I must say. But as you see, my roll dodge cost almost nothing. That was with the roll dodge thing. As you see, it cost almost nothing. That's 20% roll dodge cost applied. So, and the stam recovery is good for your stam DDs. And obviously the main reason we are using this is minor protection, protecting the group. You can use this on the Assembly General. I didn't use it. It went fine. It was okay. You can use this on the AA, on last boss. During the execute phase, it will help. It will help a lot actually. So yeah. Anyways, let's see. Energy orb. This is how you keep the. If your group is bad, simply bad, they won't have the Warhorn up all the time, and this is how the maturation passive ticks in. You just throw this and it will heal everyone and give them the Warhorn bonus like as it did to me. So yeah. Pretty good skill. If they use the orb synergy, they get Magicka or Stamina, whichever is higher. So yeah. Let's see. Speed buff. It's just for AA and the neutral or halls of fabrication, wherever you want it. Just if you want speed, use this. It gives the speed to everyone, but you will lose the speed buff, or anyone you give this buff to will lose the speed buff if they heal or give buff to anyone else. So if you have this, you cannot use any skills that affects your allies. Let's see, we have Purge, you can put it on back bar. And that's pretty much it for the flex spot on our back bar. For pledges, this here, and pretty much this is what I use on pledges. Anyways, third skill we have is Inner Rage, the Magicka morph. It gives a chance to use a synergy. It increases the chance of giving a synergy. So it's kind of a Alkosh helper for your off tank. So yeah, it's just range taunt basically. Our fourth skill is Ice Fortress. Now, there's a bug in the game. If you have 6 people on you, this buff goes to 6 people maximum, by the way. If there's 6 people on you, you will not get this buff for yourself. That's why I didn't choose expensive Frost Cloak. It was so bad because I'm using expensive Frost Cloak and I'm not getting the buff myself. I don't like it. I need to get the buff myself. So, and it gives me the minor protection. So that's also a good thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's why I already reported the bug. If you use expensive Frost Cloak, get ready to never get the buffs yourself. So I hope they fix it soon. Let's see. But again, Major Resolve and Major Ward for the melee group, it's still pretty good. It's just very good. And the fifth skill we have is Elemental Blockade. I showed you how it works, and it's just, it's a necessity if you are using lightning stuff, which you should be using. And I showed you how it works, how it affects your enchants, how it proc the things and all. So yeah, make sure you have Elemental Force, and that's pretty much all you need from the Destroy Stuff skill line. And the ultimate I already explained, but again, Permafrost, Major Protection AoE, it's one of the best defensive ultimate in the game. So yeah, this is our skills. Now, what else? We are using 3-stat potion because we are not using equilibrium. So if I was using equilibrium, I would just use trash stamina force. And we have the 3-stat food, and that's pretty much it. Now, let's jump to champion points. This is what I found best. You'll see. I'll try to explain. We have Warlord 28, Sprinter 9, and 3 points in bashing focus. You need to sprint some time to time, so you need Sprinter. And Warlord, you will get stunned time to time. There are some stunts that you can avoid. So we have 59 Arcanist, gives us the Synergizer thing. When you activate the Synergy ability, you generate 2 ultimate, which fits perfectly with Alkash. So yeah, 56 Tumbling, 20% roll dodge cost reduction, and 75 Shadow Ward. There's no need to put more than 75. Like if I go 100 with 25 more points, I get like 1.6%, which is nothing, not worth to spend 25 points on. This is what I found best. It really served me well. And we have here 100 Blast, 100 Elfborn, 30 Elemental Expert. Now, there are things that you can make use of as a tank. The first one is Last Stand. When you fall below 20% health, you gain Major Heroism, granting 3 ultimate every 1.5 seconds. The Major Heroism, the same, you get from the Shimmering Shield. And as I said, Warden doesn't really have a bad time getting the Last Stand. So, and the other thing is Tactician. When you roll dodge, you set the enemy off balance, which will get consumed with only 1 heavy attack. So it's not really needed. Like even on bosses that cannot be off balanced, like the Stormatro for example, and the Stonatro in AA, even if you off balance them, even if you roll dodge their attacks, or with evasion just dodge their attacks, doesn't matter, the next heavy attack, which will happen, I can guarantee you, immediately, will consume it, and the 120 points you put here will go to waste. The off balance uptime will be 1%, if not 2. Like, it's just, it's not worth to put 120 points here. The reason I have Blessed and Elfborn is the minor lifesteal, and my Leeching Vines scales with Elfborn as well. So that's why I have Elfborn. And Elemental Expert is just because I have points that I don't need, so just better increase my damage with the blockade. And empty. 66 Ironclad is just I think the best number for this tree. We have 37 Thick Skinned. I reduced my, I was using like 56 something on thick skin, but I reduced it because you can purge most of the damage over times you get. Like the most damaging damage over times are what? The fourth boss flame, you can purge it. What else? I don't even remember. I really don't see a lot. Like, yeah, the new trial, the Asylum Sanctorium. During the execute phase, you get a damage over time on you. You can purge it easily. It's just I don't see putting more than 37. So yeah. Instead, I was using 49. Now I increased them to 56. Gives me 12% against pretty much everything. So yeah. And I have 15 points in quick recovery, which kinda compensates for the healing taken I lose from not being a DK. So yeah, and the main reason I would spend that 15 point here, but I spend it here because I want this. While you are resurrecting another player, your damage taken is reduced by 15%. So while resting someone, you are not blocking. So yeah, there's that. You are getting less damage while resting someone. And that's pretty much it for the CP. I explained the food. Oh yeah, I need to explain you my rotation. Let's check it out, how it works. Now, I start with, obviously, Taunt, Heroic Slash, Leeching Vines, and Bull Netch, and Weapon Swap. I put the blockade down. I use this, and I use it every time I go to my back bar. The reason is because it can give the buff to different people. Every time you use it, it can give the buff to different people. Now I'm gonna do that again. So I use 1, 2, 3, 4, swap, 5, 4. This is my static rotation. Whenever I can use it, I use it. I'm not saying I use it all the time. There will be points, there will be times that you need to break it to use Shimmering Shield, you need to use Absorb Magic. It just breaks. So I'm gonna do it again, and let's just look at it. Heroic Slash, Leeching Vines, Bull Netch, Blockade, Ice Fortress. Now I have 8 seconds left on my taunt. Until there is 3 seconds left, I spam the synergy button. There's nothing else I'm doing. You can keep block, of course, if you want to. Again, Heroic Slash, Leeching Vines, Bull Netch, Elemental Blockade, Ice Fortress, and spam the synergy button until there's 3 seconds left, and start again. And that's pretty much it, how you sustain your buffs and how you keep them up. Now if you want to full uptime on your buffs, as you see my blockade goes down if I wait until 3 seconds. If you want them to be up all the time, if you want to use the Savage Beast on cooldown, you need to start your rotation again at when it's 5 seconds left. And I'm doing synergy, 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 synergy. 5 seconds left, and I start again. That's pretty much it, how I play. And I must say, I'm getting pretty good results with Alkosh. But I would use other things. Now, for the Magicka you see here, my Magicka is going low, right? The reason it's going low is I'm not healing anyone. That's why. As I said, here, you need to heal people with Leeching Vines and whatever to keep your resources up. And Leeching Vines is not healing anyone while I'm showing you the rotation. That's why my Magicka is going low. And of course I have the potion as well. Let's pop one and look at the Magicka recovery. 1000 150 or 60, whatever. It will not go down. You won't have Magicka issues. Like, my Magicka is always at 50 to 40%. Because even if it's higher, I use the Leeching Vines to put the buff on someone so I can get more resources back. I mean, I can get the resources back more frequently. Because you can put this on more than one person. You can put this on whatever people you want. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. How it works, the rotation. I explained CP, I explained item sets. I even explained how to use them. Why the lightning stuff, the potions, racial passive. Just, oh, talking about passives. Let's get everything, 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 and again everything, but I'm still leveling. If you use 511, these three, this, and this, and all heavy armor. Vampire passives, soul magic if you want. On legend domain, you should get locksmith for white gold tower. Not really necessary though. Fighter's guild, slayer, banish the wicked. And mage's guild, you don't really need it, to be honest. Like, you can I mean, you can get this for magic recovery on second boss if you ever put this on your bar. Yeah. And undaunted passives, obviously. And from support, get this. Get your racial passives. And from alchemy, get the medicinal use. And I hope I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. Even, yeah, I think I covered everything. Okay, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, or if you need any advice on tanking whatever boss, tanking whatever trial, just put a comment below, or you can reach me in game. I'm playing on PC, EU. I'll leave my user ID in the description. And again, please check the links I leave in the description. Go read them. It will help you a lot. You need to check them out, okay? They are really important. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.